All right, hello again. We are back with these introductory videos for our Proclaim software. In today's video, we are going to be looking through how to add and edit a song. This is obviously one of the things you will probably be doing most often when using this software is adding and editing songs. This is also probably where you're going to find quite a few deviations from PowerPoint. And some of those deviations are incredibly helpful and useful. And some of them might be a little frustrating at first. But we're going to try and cover all those the best we can. And we'll go from there. So as you can see, we're back in Proclaim. We're also back at our service that we had created for the weird day of Thursday, April 23rd. Sorry if that day has significance to you. I didn't mean to offend you by calling it weird, but it's not when we usually have a service, so that's why I call it weird. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so we're down in our service section. Let's say you were editing this service in preparation for our weird Thursday, April 23rd service. Okay. Okay, so here is what a song format looks like. And we're going to try and kind of dive into some of this. Okay. Basically, where you would start is you would search for the song you want. Now, the song that's over here right now is This Is Amazing Grace. Let's say we would want to add another one. When you search, you're going to be searching in. Here, let me type something in. Just do one that we recently did. You're going to see a number of different categories. You're going to see a My Songs category. Now, the My Songs category is a category for songs that we have done before, songs that have been edited before. So you might even see some of the hymns come up. Give Thanks with a Grateful Heart. But you'll also see some other ones that kind of fit the description that we wrote in, You Are My King. So these are all songs that we've already done. They've already been edited. When you edit a song, it's already here. It's automatically updated. If you haven't done a song before, and we'll get into this later, it'll show up in Song Select by CCLI. Proclaim is linked with CCLI, which is awesome because it automatically dumps all of the copyright information in. It has the words for all the songs, and so that's pretty awesome right there. You don't have to, for the most part, you don't have to dump any words in here. They're already all here. Now that doesn't mean you don't have to do any editing, but the skeleton of the songs are at least here. So that's what the Song Select by CCLI portion is. All the way at the bottom, you have the Faith Life hymn base, and that's basically if you were adding a hymn. This is where you would go to see if you have it. You probably won't have to deal with that at all in the contemporary service. We've actually gone through and tried to add all the hymns from the LSB into our song base so that they're all already preloaded in there and you can just find them there if you would need it. But obviously what we're concerned about now is editing a song for our contemporary service. So let's go to Because He Lives, Amen. We're going to dump that in here. Now, what you'll see right off the bat is this bar right here. This is a really cool feature that is probably one of my favorites. This is the order that the song will go in over here. So this text box down here, this is where you edit all of the components that go up here. So let's say the bridge, for instance. You have the bridge up here, but that is pulling from the bridge that you've told it to use down here. All right. So you have verse 1. Again, this is the order. So verse 1, you'll see over here. There's verse 1. chorus 1 comes next. So you go over here and you'll see there's chorus 1. And then you'll see verse 2. You get the idea. So this is the order that they put everything that you've already loaded in down here. And just to kind of demonstrate that, I can, so let's say for whatever reason I want to take out verse 2. I don't know why I would do that, but let's say I did. Well, verse 2 is gone over here now. You actually just kind of saw it disappear. Okay. Let's say I realized that was a dumb idea, so I want to put it back in. Just type in verse 2, and it dumps it back in. This saves you a ton of time. It makes ordering songs very easy. If, you know, sometimes in rehearsal, we're like, oh, we should add another chorus. That's fine. I can go in here, and I can add chorus 1. And then you'd be able to see, if you go down the bottom, you would see that there was another chorus put in the bottom. So that's a really cool feature. Now, as you can probably tell, you have to use some keywords here. Okay? You have to use some keywords so that it knows what you're pulling from. The verses and the choruses are pretty straightforward. It actually recognizes a title for a pre-chorus. So if you type in pre-chorus, you just say yada yada yada, and then you go up here and you say, well, we want a pre-chorus right here. All right, so let's go back up to the top and see if it did what it's supposed to. There it is. Yada yada yada. There's our pre-chorus. So pre-chorus is something that's recognized. You'll see up here that, oh yeah, okay, so this is important too. If you type something up here that you have not included in your text box down here, it'll show up as red because it's telling you, hey, that doesn't exist down here. So you'll know that it's not there, so you can go over there and take that out. You'll see in this song there's an ending. So ending is also a kind of keyword that it'll recognize. So anytime that there's a portion of the song that you want to include, make sure that it has that keyword up there. The keywords being verse or chorus, or, you know, there's verse 2, there's bridge. Those headings are really important because you'll need those for adding them up here. There's chorus 2, there's ending, okay? So make sure those are there. Now, something to keep in mind, and part of what makes this really helpful, you only need to include one chorus 1 in your text box down here. You just got to write it out once. And then you can put it in here as many times as you want. Okay, and it'll dump it over here. Same thing with chorus 2. Okay, anything that's repeated, you just have to create once in your text box. Where you repeat it is up here in your order. Now, let's say for whatever reason you don't want to use the order feature, you just unclick it, and then what it does is it pulls precisely from what you have here in your text box. If this order feature is not selected, what it will do is pull right from what's in your text box down here. Okay, won't put the headings there, but it'll pull straight from there. But I almost never do that, so keep that selected, and then it will use your ordering feature. Make sure that the heading of a particular portion of the song is above that portion, not in front. If it's in front, so let's say I move this up here, look, it's going to see that verse 1 doesn't exist, and then you'll see, oh, yeah, look, it doesn't even include it up there because it says verse 1 doesn't exist anymore. So you're going to want to make sure that that heading is above that portion of the song. Again, this is a really cool feature. It just takes a little bit getting used to, but in the long run, it is incredibly helpful. Because again, as long as you have your main components of each song listed down here, you can order them, rearrange them however you want up here without having to change those components of the song. Okay? And actually, if you click up here, it'll show you all the different components that you already have in there. This is where a blank slide also comes into place. If you want a blank slide, let's say we want a blank slide for an instrumental in between verse 1 and in between chorus 1 and verse 2. Just a blank. And then you will see that there's a blank slide there. So that's really cool as well. Definitely a helpful tool. Okay, in terms of spacing some of these things out, general rule of thumb is that if you space anything in a paragraph, it'll just dump it to a new slide. So I put a space there, and it dumped the second half of that paragraph to a new slide. That's pretty much what's going to happen all the time. If you put space anywhere, it's going to dump it to a new slide. Okay? Something that is, maybe you've picked up on this already, something that is very different from PowerPoint is that a change that you make to any individual slide is applied to every slide in the song. So essentially all of these slides in this song are just grouped together. So if I move this here, it moves it everywhere else. This is something that admittedly I don't really know whether I like or dislike. So I'll just give you the pros and cons of it. The pros are that you don't have to go through and edit each slide individually if you want to change something. If there's something that you want to change the entire presentation, say the font boldness or the size, or you want to put it in italics, it's changed for everything. You don't have to go through and put each slide as bolded. That's definitely a pro. A con, for me anyway, is that it doesn't give you the ability to kind of make changes to an individual slide. I've actually talked with a couple of our representatives at Faithlife about this, and I just mentioned to them it would be really helpful if they could add a feature where you could choose to edit a slide individually. I haven't seen that happen yet, but honestly, they are really good about taking in feedback, and if they get it from enough people, making sure that they follow through with that. But that's something important to keep in mind. You change something on one slide, you change it on all of them. Okay, now that's not the case for the title slide. The title slide you can do with whatever you want, and it's not going to change it at all. Okay. Now, in terms of editing and spacing and stuff like that, that's stuff that's actually going to be more important to cover whenever we talk about how to change the media background. So we won't get into that right now, but if you look for a video on the media, changing the media, editing the background, that's where we'll get into, how to order this stuff, arrange this stuff. Right now, I just want to focus on how to edit this song. Okay, so we've covered some of the important basics. We talked about how to search for a song, and kind of how to find it in your own database versus CCLI's database. Okay, we talked about the ordering bar. So again, this is the order of everything that's going to show up over here. And then you have your text box. So this is what this bar pulls from. First one up here pulls from verse 1 down here. Chorus 1, even though it's all the way over here, pulls from just the chorus 1 that you put in here. Okay. Remember to have the correct headings. If you're not sure what type of heading it will recognize, I know we already went through some of them, like bridge, ending, obviously pre-chorus, chorus 1, chorus 2, chorus 3. You can put as many choruses as you want. Then just type something in and see if it recognizes it. So I'll type in something that it most definitely won't recognize as a heading. I'll put in baseball, and then I'll type something random in down here. If I go up here and try to put in baseball as a heading, and if I can spell it correctly, it's gonna say, like, what the heck are you talking about? You're ridiculous. Okay, so if you're not sure if something is a legitimate heading or not, just try it out, see if it works. And if it works, then great. Just to, I'm sure you guys have figured this out on your own, but just to clarify, when you see chorus 1 or chorus 2 here, chorus 2 is not a repeated chorus. Okay, it's just a different chorus. So there's some slight variation there. So if there's something in chorus 1 that you want to change later in the song, even if it's spacing, even if it's you want to change out the spacing, you can just create a chorus 2 and you can dump that in there as well. So chorus 2 is not necessarily a repeated chorus, it's a different chorus. There's some variation on it. Again, I'm sure you guys knew that already, you know, being musicians, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I hope that helps a little bit in terms of editing and kind of the basics of a song. Again, the part that will probably take the longest to get used to is using the text box and using the order bar up here that corresponds to the text box. But it is something that once you figure it out and once you get used to it, it is incredibly helpful. And makes, you know, especially creating songs really easy. It's incredibly helpful. Down below the text box, you will see this is where the trademark, or copyright, sorry, not trademark, copyright information is. So, and that will end up wherever you tell it to. We tell our trademark, copyright to end up on our last slide. Okay, and if you had a HIB number, that's where you put it here. Now, some of these options down here are important too. So you'll see, for instance, we put our copyright on our final slide. That's kind of to show that we're at the end of the song. It's a good way to show that the song's over, especially for the person doing slides. So how do we tell it to go here? Well, you'll go to the part where it says credits. If we didn't want to show the credits at all, which would probably be illegal, we could uncheck that and they would just go away. But we do want to show the credits. Now, where we want to show them is determined by this little feature here. We could show them on the title slide if we wanted to. So if you click that, go up here, it'll show it on the title slide. We could even show it on the first lyric slide, the last lyric slide, which is an option. We could show them on every slide. Should be a little excessive. There it is. But what we tend to do is to just show it on the final slide. So yeah, notice the final slide is different than the last lyric slide. Final slide means you're creating a slide just for that option. And the title as well has this feature. You can either choose to show the title on a title slide, which I usually do just to make the title stand by itself. It's an important thing to do. But if you wanted to, we'll do this for our hymn sometimes. We'll show it on every slide. So that title will show up on every slide. You can do it just on the first lyric slide. Again, this isn't something you'll have to mess with a whole lot, but just so you know it's there and just so you know what it's used for. Right now, I have it set to no transition. That's the transition between each slide, and that's mainly because we're usually trying to get from one slide to the next pretty quickly. But obviously, if you wanted a transition, there are all your options there. Okay, but again, that's something you probably won't have to mess with a whole lot. So that's what these are down here. Again, probably not something you're going to have to mess with a ton unless you're creating a brand new song slide. And speaking of which, let's do that. Okay, so let's say for whatever reason you just had to create a brand new song slide. Okay, so we'll go up to our add item feature. We want to add a song. Okay. All right. So this is it. This is a bare bones blank song slide. Okay. So let's add a song that we've already used before. Okay. There it is. I noticed that it pretty much dumped it in here without any type of graphic design. It's just the bare bones text to the left. It's not bolded. It's just kind of there. Okay. Now, if you go down here, you'll notice most of the things are the same as what we had before, except for the fact that no transition is clicked. Okay, so we don't want a transition. And I also usually want to center these. And, yeah, again, I won't get into too much of the graphic design things right now, but if you're creating a new song, you'll get kind of the bare bones of it, I guess is what I want to show you. Now, the reason why I didn't do that right off the bat is because it's much easier to take a song slide grouping that you already have and just punch in a new song. So rather than going here to create a new song slide and do that all over again, it's much easier to just go to a song grouping you already have and type in the song. Okay, that's much easier. Because it keeps your formatting, keeps your spacing, it keeps your song, or it keeps your slide set up. It's just much easier to do. Okay. Now, let's get into what if there's a song that we haven't used before. Okay, so let's say we want to add a song that we have not used before. And now I gotta think of a song we haven't used. Alright, Awesome God by Rich Mullins. What a classic. Alright, so let's click that. Now, again, this is a song that we have not used before, so it hasn't been edited, it hasn't been ordered, and look at these verses. They're just like all grouped together. And the reasoning for that is, if you go over your text box, you'll see, look at verse 1 over here. Verse 1, it's just one huge long paragraph. That's because when CCLI dumps its songs into Proclaim, it just dumps the bare bones, just the absolute simplistic of what you need. It's just basically what choruses are there, what bridge is there, what verses are there, and then you got to take care of it from there. Okay. Okay, so let's look at how to do that. So this song is actually a song that it starts out with the chorus. So you'll see they did that for you up there. But now let's go to verse 1, because this is kind of a mess. And we will just try and space it out a little bit. Try and space out per slide kind of where you think the natural break in the verse is. So that line, our God is an awesome God, is kind of a natural break. So let's add a space there, and you'll see that space automatically dumped everything else down here. And there's another natural break in the verse. So we'll dump the rest of that down there. Oh boy, I have to think through the song in my head to think where the natural break is. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to add it right here. Okay, so notice that didn't necessarily change the order, it just made everything into separate slides so that it wasn't all grouped together, all nasty like that. And you'll see that verse 2 is still that way. So, okay, now you've broken up verse 1 a little bit. So now you would go up here Chorus 1 still comes first, verse 1, but then, we want that chorus after verse 1. Okay, so we put it in there, and you'll see there's the chorus that we just added. I'm sorry if I'm being nauseatingly meticulous about this, but I just want to make sure that I'm making everything clear, because there are little ins and outs to this whole thing. And it's important that you get all of it. So, verse 2, do the same thing that we did with verse 1, and hopefully I'll just go through this a little bit quicker this time. Add spacing there, add spacing there, and we're just going to add spacing where we want there. Okay, so now verse 2 looks better. And you can go up here, and we want another chorus after verse 2, and because it's a contemporary song, we're just going to add a ton of choruses. Alright. So there you go. That's, if you were adding a brand new song that we haven't done before, when you get it, it's going to give you just a bare bones verse and chorus. They'll have bridges in there. If there are bridges, they'll have pre-choruses in there. It's your job then to go through it, make sure the spacing's correct, make sure that each slide has a appropriate amount of words on it, and then to put it in order as well, to make sure that the order is correct, because it's not just going to do that for you automatically. And at first I was kind of upset that it didn't do it for you automatically, but honestly, if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense, because everybody orders the songs a little bit differently, everybody does the songs a little bit differently. So for Proclaim to just try and assume what that is, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to do that. Now, sometimes you'll listen to a song and you'll hear a part that's maybe not in there. Maybe there's a part in the recording that you really want to do, but for whatever reason, CCLI didn't dump it into Proclaim. That's fine. All you have to do is, let's say there's a bridge that just disappeared. You can just type in bridge, and then you can type in whatever you want. We'll add a song is indeed an awesome God. Alright, and then you would, so once you've added it down here, you have to figure out where you want it in your song. Bridges usually come after a chorus, after the last verse, so add it right there. And then you'll see it showed up somewhere. Back down to where that is in the song. There it is. That's the bridge. Our God is indeed an awesome God. Okay, but that's ridiculous, so we'll take it off. Okay. So now once you've done that, and once you're like, alright, this song is good, we're good to go, I've edited the text, I've spaced it out, I have the correct order, this song is good to go, and you will find that this song can be found in our song base now. Let's go to a different song slide here. So if you search for Awesome God Again, you would see that it showed up in my songs, because you've opened it, you've edited it, and all that good stuff. Okay? Oh, let's see. Let me make sure I actually keep this the right title. Alright. There we go. Okay. That is the gist of it. I know there's a lot there, and I hope that was somewhat straightforward. The big things to remember are to keep track of our text box and your order bar. You know how those work, and that you realize that anything that you move on these slides or change is going to change on all the slides in the group. Okay. We'll get into the graphic side of things in a different video. So I know you're probably thinking, how do we change all the graphics and the stuff like that. We'll get to that later. I just wanted to cover how to edit a song and also how to add a new song. Just some of the tricks that I've learned. So this is just kind of tricks of the trade, so to speak. And again, we'll get into the media side of things later, but whenever you're creating a song that has a new media background, that's going to change the media layout of the song. And so, for instance, I'll have to go back through and change the text size, and change the boldness, and change the font, all that stuff. Once you do that for a song in your presentation, it's much easier to just take that format that you already have, copy it, and go to a place where there's another song, and you paste it, and then you just type in whatever song you want. It's much easier to do that than to have to reformat every single slide that you want, every single song grouping that you want. Okay, it's much easier to just copy and paste the song group and then add a different title. Okay? I think that's all the information I have for now. What I might do in the future is just add some supplemental videos. If there's anything that I realize that I didn't cover here, or I get enough questions from everybody, about a certain topic, I might just add a supplemental video later on. But that's the gist of how to create a song, how to edit it, how to format it. One of the things that kind of threw me off when I first started doing this is, in PowerPoint you can take a slide and you can drag it, but obviously that doesn't work here. Slides are just created automatically. All right, so you don't have to create a new slide, by right-clicking and saying Add New Slide. They're just created automatically by whatever you do over here. If you add a space, that creates a new slide, or if you go up here and you add a blank, that creates a new slide. Okay, so your new slides are automatically created, which is a really nice perk. It saves a lot of time, saves a lot of energy. So that was something else I had to get used to when I flipped over from PowerPoint to here. Now, we've been doing a lot of editing, we've been doing a lot of moving around, we've been doing a lot of stuff, so you'll see up here that my synchronization tab is still pending. That means I don't want to close out of Proclaim yet. I want to click on that. And there we go. That is checked. Just to double check that it's good to go, we'll click on it again. Synchronization is complete. All right, that means that that this should be uploaded to the cloud, and all the changes should be saved for other computers who want to look at this. All right, thank you for bearing with me through that. Like I said, that's I think all the information we need to cover for song editing right now. But if we have any new information in the future that needs to be covered, I'll add a supplemental video to this for that. All right, thanks for joining us today.